G'day folks, just taking a walk, bushwalk through part of the Ravensmoor National Park, Butells Lookout, and I'll just pan around with my wife and two of the granddaughters, and this is probably what they would call a subtropical rainforest, and it's a national park. But what we've got here in front of us is the giant stinging tree. And we have a look, see if I can get a close up on the leaves. And the hairs on these can be very painful if they're rubbed up against your skin. Cause a lot of pain, it can last for a long time. And it's something you've got to be aware of when walking along these bush tracks. But interestingly enough, the fibrous material, the bark on these, was used by the Aboriginals to make fishing nets and probably other implements that they needed at the time. It's quite a tall tree, and as you probably know, in rainforests they're all reaching for the sun, and there's very little leaf litter or growth on the ground in most places, except where trees have come down and the sun hits the ground and everything's growing, trying to grow and reach for the sun. So we'll continue along the track and see what else we can find. Well, this is a huge tree in the national park, and going back to the late 1800s, before it was declared a national park, there was a lot of logging industry in this area, and this is one tree that was spared. It's called the blue gum, or Sydney blue gum. And you can see it's quite a huge tree, and it goes up right up to the top there. And it supports a lot of wildlife, some species of bats, the usual insects, bird life, and this one was spared. I think probably because the white ants had eaten the core of it out. But during the logging days, just logging this timber was, and I think the other one was the Australian red cedar in the area, which was mostly exported back to Europe, if my memory serves me. Makes beautiful furniture. But anyway, it was just about logged out in this area, and there's not many standing at the moment. So this tree is ancient. It's huge. Goes back a long way before European settlement in this country, that's for sure. Well, this is a what they call a young corkwood tree. It was used, materials on this was used by the Aboriginals for food and shelter and the medicines of the time. This is only a very young example. You hear the birds going in the background. It's full of bird life today. I haven't been looking up in the canopy. I haven't actually seen any yet. But anyway, there is an extract that's harvested off this for more modern medicines, I believe. Is it hyoscine? Anyway, I'll embed it in here. Yeah, it's a muscle relaxant used for colic and eye trauma. It's also can be very effective for travel sickness too. I don't know exactly how they extract the medicinal material out of this, but it was certainly used by the Aboriginals as there's a bird flitting across there, for their way of life and medicines and shelter and other materials that they needed to use for whatever they wanted. This, I think we got in front of us, is what they call a rosewood tree. This one's dead, and it's quite tall, right up in the tree canopy. There may be a younger one here, I think. This one here. But these were logged extensively for their wood, rose-coloured wood, said to have a nice scent or fragrance about them. Highly prized for cabinet making, and these trees used to grow quite big, up to around about 4 metres in girth around the trunk. This is only a young one. I think that one over there may be one too. It's deteriorated quite a bit. At 4 metres, you're looking around about 12, maybe 13, 14 feet around the trunk, and extensively logged for their wood, and to the point where they're very scarce in this area, and no doubt protected. These are staghorns. I think they're staghorns growing in the top of this tree. They are a parasitic type of plant. There's a weird animal making a weird noise back there. I'm not sure what it is. Haven't been able to find it. Might be some kind of bird you can hear in the background. Yeah, a lot of birds in the canopy. I've tried to capture some on camera, but they're too fast. So yeah, these are quite common through the in these areas. They are protected, and but nurseries do sell them. They propagate their own, and they're highly prized by ornamental gardeners. So well, that sounds going to be closer. I think it's a bird. Alrighty. Okay, what we've got here is the Cunjavoi, or more commonly known as the elephant ear plant. Now, these plants are toxic. The sap on them is toxic for ingestion. In fact, it's deadly poisonous. And it's growing right through the rainforest here. And it's a cycle of life where big trees eventually come down. There's one just through there. Lets the sunlight in, and you get a lot of regrowth coming up from the forest floor. And the Cunjavoi plant, well, Westerners know that, most of us know that these are toxic to eat, but the Aboriginals used to eat the roots or the tubers, and they didn't eat them raw, they treat them. And what they used to do was leach them, the roots, for a while to remove the toxins out of them, and then pound it down into some sort of flour or wet compound and make cakes out of them. So I'm not really familiar on how they did it, so it's not something I would try myself. I would actually have to talk to one of the indigenous people, Aboriginals, and just to see how they would do it. It's said to have medicinal properties, but I don't know how it was applied, so that's the problem with a lot of the Aboriginal knowledge on these plants. So much of it has been lost. So anyway, that's the Cunjavoi, or more commonly known as the elephant ear plant. Just have a look at this huge dead tree. It hasn't been cut down, it's just through the natural process, growing, aging, and probably white ant infestation, and it's come down sometime. This one is huge. It goes right up into there. I don't know what sort of tree it was, but certainly it was. It's been around since well before European settlement, that's for sure. It's ancient. Okay. Some of the other plants that are growing in the subtropical rainforest are these. They're sort of like a palm tree. They're native. These are quite small ones. And just having a look around under here, it looks like there's been some animal activity on the ground around here. It's been disturbed. Now, there are a lot of wild animals in this park. Kangaroos and wallabies, and probably a few of the scarce varieties of subspecies of that. It's been known too that in this park there's wild deer, wild pigs, which are a problem, but I haven't seen any evidence of them in this particular area of the park. And of course people have in other areas of this park seen wild dog packs too, but I haven't seen any signs around here today. Typically as rainforests go, subtropical rainforests go, a lot of tree growth, trees grow high, the canopies are high, and there's a lot of bird life here. We tried to catch them on camera, but they're just too quick for us. But typically in areas where, look down here, we can see a lot of ferns growing. And the forest floor is generally pretty clear. There's not a lot of undergrowth on it, except in areas where perhaps trees have fallen down and we get sunlight coming through, and everything springs to life because they're all striving to get that sunlight. And that's where it starts to thicken up a bit. But this is great. And look up in the canopy. You can hear the birds and you can see them sometimes, but geez, they're fast. I'll catch them on a camera. Alright folks, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.